Hi, I'm Andrea. Thank you so much for joining me for this 30-minute yoga practice. A few things before we start. One is I am standing on a yoga mat. If you don't have one, find some place in your house that's got some carpeting, or maybe you've got a nice sturdy rug. Not something that's going to slip out from underneath you. I don't want you on a surface that's too hard or slick. I have 2 yoga blocks. A great substitute for those would be 2 thick books. And I've got a folded blanket, which is as simple as the throw blanket from your couch, or maybe you've got a beach towel, a bath towel, something in case you want to pad your knees or have a little cushion. It's great also to pull cushions from your couch or pillows from your bed. It's kind of fun, actually, to be creative with our props. We'll start today in child's pose. And I want to really focus on alignment, not just in our child's pose, but in our practice today, so that we line things up in such a way that we get the best benefit and we have the least likelihood of doing something that's going to not feel good on us today and tomorrow. Child's pose is often taught as something that is you sitting back on your heels, but for a lot of us, that's way too much knee flexion. So you might use your folded blanket, place it underneath your knees. That's one thing. Take one of your books or blocks, place it out in front of you, curl your toes under, and instead of the need to get your hips and your heels towards each other, just let it be a little bit of a longer child's pose. And if you think of putting your forehead on your block, that also might give you something to aim for. I'm actually using quite a bit of weight in my arms to prohibit myself from getting too far into knee bending. That might be a little bit more your structure as well. If it feels okay for you to be on the tops of your feet, for you to sink your hips towards your heels, that's fine too. The beauty of this is that you're the expert and I am the guide, and I'm going to try to guide you to a place where this feels the absolute best. In your personalized child's pose, we'll use this as a place to turn the arrows of attention inward. Maybe you're resting your forehead on the ground, maybe on your folded blanket. We'll turn the arrows of attention inward and we'll focus on our breathing. See if you can become wildly interested in every inhale and every exhale. If you're able to narrow that breathing down to in and out through your nose, that's something to move towards. If it's not happening today, don't worry about it. And lastly, let's slow it down a bit. And think of adding a pause at the top when we're full and a pause at the bottom when we're empty. Slither out onto your belly. If you've got props that you're using for your child's pose, carefully set them aside. And then let your forearms be parallel to the long edges of your mat. This is a really big alignment point to me. We're not collapsed in our joints. That's important. We want to cultivate muscles that are strong and supple in the directions that are helpful, not just when we're here on our mat, but what we're finding in what's called Sphinx pose right now, as you press into your forearms and traction your elbows towards you, is a way in which we can develop muscles that help us not just slump in front of our computer, that help us to stand tall when we're walking down the street. Press into the tops of your feet, let your kneecaps lift. So now we're activating our legs as well. So it's another thing that will help prevent us from collapsing into our joints. Our joints want muscles to help them out. Your chin is parallel to the ground, so it's not a struggle in our neck that we're starting to contribute to. And you can imagine somebody's hands on your shoulder blades as you traction your elbows towards you, and those shoulder blades are gliding towards one another. It's a stretch in the front of your chest a little bit, probably. And it's a really great way in which we can build things like a cobra pose, or maybe at some point an upward facing dog. But this is my go-to. This is what I come back to all the time for alignment. Now lower down and reposition your hands next to your ribs. Instead of elbows flopping out to the side, let your elbows come like they're brushing right up against your ribs. Be careful with your chin because it's going to want to do that struggle. We don't want it to. Traction your hands like we just did in Sphinx. Energize your legs. Press the tops of your feet down. And now we feel those muscles that we want to cultivate, building a back bend, but in a new position. You can always come back to Sphinx with your forearms down if that's better. Lower down and bring your forearms back to be aligned with the long edges of your mat. Give that oomph into your arms so we're not collapsed. A little bit different. Curl your toes under now. Press into your forearms until you can lift your chest, your belly, your hips, your thighs, and possibly even your knees off your mat. Bring your knees back down, and then it's thighs, hips, belly, chest. And let's make it Sphinx pose. Elbows draw towards you. Once again, push into your arms, curl your toes under. We're headed back to that plank on our forearms. So you'll lift your belly, you'll lift your hips, you'll lift your thighs. It's totally fine to keep your knees down. If you want to lift your knees for a moment, you're welcome to do it. And then let's return our knees, thighs, hips, belly. Slide your hands back. Remember, elbows don't wing out to the side. We're aerodynamically bringing them alongside us. Curl your toes under. In one piece, come to all fours. Once you're on all fours, stay put. Let's talk about the alignment of our hands. We spend quite a bit of time on our hands in our shoulder joints. So let the circles that are the palms of your hands be completely pressing into your mat. Here as well, we're not collapsed into our joints. So I'll probably say that a lot. Spread your hands wide so it feels like all 10 of your fingers are reaching into some clay. Now, just carefully scoot your knees back about 4 inches so it doesn't quite seem to be hands and knees. It's more like a modified plank. It also means you're going to be tempted to collapse again. Let's not. And that you've got a little core strength, I'm thinking, working right now. From here, carefully, with a little hook in your tailbone, think of that child's pose that we did. And now lift your hips up and back. Take your feet as wide as your mat. Bend your knees deeply. Push into the wholeness of your hands. Remember the circles and the palms of your hands. Our heels are lifted, that's fine. What I want us to focus on alignment-wise is that our side body feels long, our front body and back body feels long. And you can line up your arms and your ears. So although I'm lifting my head to look at you from time to time, really you want to let your head relax in between your arms. Let's walk forward. Our feet come to our hands. Our feet are hip distance and parallel. Bring your hands onto your shins or ankles and then slide them up as we inhale with a hinge. You're about halfway up with your chest parallel to the ground. Keep as much of this as we can as we exhale, and we deepen the hinge, but we're really thinking of keeping a long spine. Then we inhale, rise, reach, thumbs to the sky, a V shape, and pause. It is tempting to shrug our shoulders into our ears. Let's not. Keep a bend in your knees, and let your gaze be out in front of you. That too can be that overworking chin. It's okay. Let it release, let it relax. And then float your arms along your sides, palms face out. And let's do this. Rotate your inner upper arm so it's like we're shrugging, we're hunching on purpose. And now spin your thumbs away from each other and feel how from your shoulder joint, that actually makes us stand tall in our whole body. So it's not just a flick of our wrist, it's the whole shoulder responding. Let's inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, a V. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to your thighs, or slide them to your shins or your ankles. Glide your hands up as we inhale. Remember, we're looking for length in our spine. Bend your knees deeply, palms, remember whole hand goes flat. Step back to down dog. Find the hook in your tailbone. Be on the balls of your feet. I remind you, we're really pressing into our arms and ears are aligning. And now shift to a plank, shoulders over wrists. Let's think about our alignment points from when we had our knees down as we bring our knees down. We did a plank on our forearms, and I'm going to use that as our example. Lean a little bit forward. Elbows bend as they brush your ribs. Pause just for a moment where it would be about the same height as plank on your forearms, and then lower to your belly. So that's called a chaturanga, a low push-up. Uncurl your toes. Traction your hands towards you with your elbows brushing your ribs. If you prefer, you can do the Sphinx pose that we did. Lower down, curl your toes under. In one chunk, we come into our all fours, and then lift your hips up like there is a hook in your tailbone. Down dog. Remember, arms and ears aligning pretty much. Lift your right leg back behind you. Step that right foot forward. It's very likely that you will need to help that along. While we're here, take your 2 blocks. Frame your right foot with those 2 blocks. Heel toe your right foot to the right. Take both hands on top of that right thigh. Now, it's not wrong to drop into our lunge, but I'm going to ask you to press into the top of your right thigh and upright your torso. They're just almost 2 different versions of the same posture. And then V-shape your arms out to the side, arms to the sky. And here we are, upright in a low lunge. If you would prefer, you can fold your blanket under your back knee, your left knee. I have my back toes curled under. That might be a helpful guide for you as well. Because our back knee is bent and it's on the ground, it's probably a little easier to upright our torso. We're not pitched forward. You can do that with me so that you know what that feels like. And we're not dumped into our low back. Those 2 things we don't want to do. So we want to feel ourselves grow tall. And anytime it's helpful to return your hands to that right thigh, press into it and instruct that upright torso, great. Now you have an alignment guide built into your own practice. Take your 2 hands onto your 2 blocks and begin to, with your back toes curled under, lift your left knee off your mat. Now keep that back knee bent. Remember, you can always return that back knee down onto the ground. Let's climb our hands onto our front thigh and upright our torso like we just did with our knee down. And maybe you return to that. I'm going to keep my back knee bent because once I straighten it, it pitches me forward or dumps me into my low back. So I like to keep a little bend there. And then we can take our arms wide out to the side and thumbs to the sky in our V. Return your hands to your blocks and your back knee to your mat. Move your blocks, plant your hands, come to hands and knees, and then let's shimmy our knees back so we're in our modified plank, right? Our kickstand down plank. And we'll be sure that we're not collapsed in our shoulders. So find that press of the ground away. Shift a little bit forward. Let's find that hint of a chaturanga. So bend your elbows, let them brush against you. Pause about the same height as our forearm plank, and then lower yourself all the way down. Uncurl your toes. Traction your hands towards you. Elbows brush your ribs. Our cobra. Lower down. Curl your toes under. Come to all fours. From all fours, the hook in our tailbone and the press into our hands takes us to down dog. In down dog, lift your left leg behind you, and you'll use that velocity and maybe your left hand to step it through and lower your back knee. We've got our 2 blocks just in case they're handy at any point in time. And remember, you can always fold and pad something underneath that now right knee, which is your back knee. Take your hands onto your left thigh. Press into that left thigh, and remember, you can try it on for size. It's not that it's bad to go in deeper, but we're trying not to today. And by pressing into our thigh, we prevent ourselves from having a pitch forward. Do your best. It may not be quite as upright as you might think right now. That's okay. We're all a work in progress. Then take your arms wide out to the side, V-shaped thumbs to the sky, and a pause. We remember this feeling because we want to wear it into our next assignment. And we'll go there now. Take your 2 blocks. Frame that left foot with your 2 blocks. Take your back knee off of your mat. Remember, you can return it if you want or need to. Climb your hands on top of that left thigh. Let's find that press that's just enough to grow us tall here. And then once we feel ready, and you might just stay here, V shape, arms out to the side, then up towards the sky in that V shape. I'm keeping my back knee bent. You might do the same. You could start to work it straight, but that combination of hands on your thigh and just finding that truth of where it is right now. Then hands to your blocks. Let's lower our back knee down. Move our blocks, hands flat. First, we're on our hands and knees, which gives us the opportunity to find the alignment of working our arms. We'll shimmy our knees back so that we're in a modified plank position, still pushing the ground away. Shift a little bit forward, elbows brush your ribs, and we pause for a moment in that low push-up. Then we come to our belly. Uncurl your toes. Traction your elbows and hands back behind you. Lower down, curl your toes under, come in one chunk onto all fours. Let the hook in your tailbone take you to down dog. From downward facing dog, walk your feet forward to your hands and arrive at that front edge, feet hip distance. Slide your hands up, inhale. Glide your hands down, exhale. Inhale, rise, reach, thumbs to the sky, a V. We'll stand in our mountain, palms facing out. Remember, it's really from your shoulder joint that the palms turn out. Organizing our props so we can turn to face the long edge of our mat. Take one block towards the one short edge and then the other towards the other, so that when we have ourselves facing this long edge, everything's behind us and not underfoot. Arms are wide. Step your legs wide. Turn your right leg out so that your right foot is facing that short edge of your mat, and then cheat your left heel back at a 45-degree angle. We're not going to side bend. We're going to think of a hinge at our hip as we reach that right arm way out. And we find our block or our book on the outside of it. Spin inner upper arms away from each other so that it doesn't collapse us into a rounded position. And press your right big toe mound into your mat so that you can feel that your straight front leg is not locked into joints, but instead inviting musculature. That's an alignment point that's important. 3 moments here. Begin to bend your right knee, and as you look down, you'll notice that it's likely going to need a longer front and back stance. That's fine. Squiggle your left leg back or your right foot forward and have a vertical line from your right knee to your right ankle. As we bend that knee, we want to be careful that we're not crumbling. So spin your inner upper arms away from each other. Hug that right hip underneath you instead of letting it swing back behind you. And then we spend 3 moments here in what's called side angle pose. Look down at your right leg so that you can move your prop off to the side. We'll come up to a warrior 2, so uprighting our torso here. Straighten your front leg, lower your arms. Turn all toes to face that long edge of your mat, and then switching sides. Turn your left leg out so that your left toes are facing that short edge. Carefully let your right heel sneak back at a 45-degree angle. Arms wide, remember, not a side bend. So hinge at that left hip. Reach way out with your left hand, and your left hand will come onto your block, or perhaps it's a book. We want to make sure that we're not locked into our joints, so press into your left big toe mound. Spin your inner upper arms away from each other, and we pause and soak into the stretch here. We're not letting that left hip swing out to the side. We want to hug that underneath us. A few silent moments just like this. Now take a look down at your left leg and begin to bend your left knee. This is where we found on the first side that you probably need to sneak that right foot back, maybe that left foot forward, but we're looking for a vertical line from your left knee to your left ankle. Spin inner upper arms away from each other. So once again, we arrive at that not so rounded, more open-hearted positioning of our chest and shoulders. A few moments here in side angle. Remember, left hip hugs underneath you instead of swinging back behind you. Look down at your left leg so you can move your block off the side and come upright into your warrior two. We'll straighten that front leg, turn all of our toes to face that long edge of our mat, and then place your hands on your hips, lift your heart, hinge, so we're not rounded into our fold. Bring your fingertips, maybe even on a block right out in front of you. We'll lengthen our heart as we inhale, and then walk into a little bit of a fold. And we're not locked into our legs here either, so put some bend in your knees. Allow your weight to drift towards the balls of your feet a little bit, and then it's like you're rolling up muscular socks to straighten your legs. You can let your head relax, your elbows bend. 3 moments here. Walk yourself over to the right and spin on your left toes. Lower your back knee. So actually over to your left and lower your right knee. So you've walked over to the left. Your left foot is forward. Your right knee is on the ground. And then find one of your blocks and sit your left hip onto that block. So sitting your left hip onto your block. It's almost the shape of those lunges that we did. We're a little bit side saddle, but you might walk your right foot, your back foot back, and turn your body to face that short edge of your mat a little bit. It's a single pigeon. If you happen to be doing the other side, if you're doing your right side first, that's great. You could walk a little bit forward, but I want us to think about that alignment point of a long spine. So even a block out in front of you for your hands to go on can be really helpful. Let's soak in our stretch for a few moments here. Slowly swoop that left leg back, so we're on our hands and knees. Take your time. And now take your block outside your right hip. Step that right foot forward. Sit on your block over to the right. So it's a bit of a side saddle experience. That's totally great. Maybe you turn to face that short edge. I just want you to run it by your right knee and your left hip flexor. Make sure that they're happy with that equation. And then you could trot your block out in front. Let me take a little stretch here. Lean it a little to your right so you can come back to our hands and knees. And once we're on our hands and knees, let's return to the child's pose we started in. And remember, you get to construct it however it is that it worked for you in the beginning. And maybe there's a little shift and it feels a little bit different now. Come on to all fours. Take your right arm up to the sky. Swoop it underneath you. Come onto your left fingertips And you'll aim towards that right shoulder, the side of your head. Unswoop, come onto all fours, take your left arm up, swoop that underneath you. You're on the outside of your head on the left side, your left shoulder, and then you'll come onto your right fingertips. Unswoop, let your legs carefully swing around in front of you. Bring your legs hip distance, flex your toes towards you, take your 2 blocks. It's another one of those moments where we get to make sure that we're not just in front of our computer again. So hinge at your hips, walk those blocks as far forward as makes sense to you. And then with our hip hinge, we feel a stretch in our hamstrings, our calves, probably even in your low back. If you want to feel a little bit more in your low back, if you've got some tightness there, you can bend your knees and keep the hip hinge, and it takes some of that hamstring stretch out of it, but it gives you a little access to placing this in the place that wherever it is that you need it most. That's alignment as well. Inhale, come upright. Exhale, lie down on your back. Once you're lying on your back, scoot your hips to the right. Let your knees drop to the left. You can cross your right knee over your left knee. Uncross your legs as you come through center, and now scoot your hips to the left. Your knees go to the right, and maybe your left knee crosses over your right knee. And then bring yourself to center. Feet hip distance and parallel. Shimmy your shoulder blades underneath you. Lift your hips just an inch. Lower them back down, and either stay like this with your knees bent, or straighten one leg and then the other into your Shavasana final meditation. You're welcome to stay here in Shavasana as long as you'd like. If you're ready, give yourself a stretch and carefully bring your knees into your chest so that you can roll to either side and come up to any comfortable seat. It could be cross-legged. You might sit on a prop of some sort. And then with your palms up or down, take a moment. Maybe you almost feel that alignment inspiration just seated. I hope you might even feel it as you align yourself with your day. I'm Andrea. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I look forward to us doing this again together soon.